So I am so excited. I'm so glad you came out to be with us today, or you're watching today, because I love this message. So let me get started with this, and I know this is going to be a tough sell. Okay, I know this is going to be a tough one for many of you to hear. So hang with me after you see what we're talking about, all right? So, all successful people, Norman Vincent Peale said, all successful people have a goal. No one can get anywhere unless he or she knows where they want to go, what they want to be, or what they want to do. The thing about goals is that living without them is a lot more fun in the short run. In the short run. It seems to me, though, that the people who get things done, who lead, who grow, and who make an impact, those people have goals. And I love this quote from Brian Tracy. He said, "Those who do not have goals are doomed forever to work for those who do." So, again, we're talking about goals. Now, I know that some of you immediately start to glaze over when I talk about this. I have spoken on goals for so many years. This is probably at least my 16th January where I've spoken on goals. So I talk about this pretty much every year, and I know how hard this is. I know this is one of the hardest things I have to even get people to try. It's one of the hardest things I have, because people get so discouraged by goals, because all of us have failed. All of you have set goals. Many of you already set New Year's resolutions. Some of you have already quit on a New Year's resolution that you just set. You're like, well, it was a good effort, and I'm done. Right? Do you know this statistic? Look at this. Research has shown that 80% of all New Year's resolutions are forgotten we don't even make it through the second month of the year, February 15th. And we're done. It's like, I'm going to do this year. February's too long, I quit. And we're done. We don't even make it through the shortest month of the year. So I get what this is. And again, I'm being a little silly about it, but the reality is, it's no fun to fail. No fun to fail. It's no fun to have a goal that you really are serious about and try and fail and try and fail and try and fail. And so eventually you hear me talk up here, hey, you should set goals. And you're like, yeah, who cares? I've tried that, Brian. It just doesn't work for me. But the reality is there are elements of goals that either make your goals work or make them fail. And if you leave key elements out of your goal setting, they're going to fail. And I'm going to show you what those mistakes are, because if you just change those areas, your goal setting doesn't have to fail. It doesn't have to be a discouraging thing for you. And here's what I know. So some of you are like, well, why are you even speaking about this? Because it's such a hard subject. In my life, in the last 20 years, I have all three of the possibilities. I have, believe it or not, some of you may be surprised to know this, but in the last 20 years, there have been a couple of times where I didn't set any goals in January. None. So some of you know me really well are kind of surprised by that. It's like, yep, I've had that. I just got too busy and I just never got around to it. So I've done that. I've done years with no goals. I've done years where I set the goals in January and I was one of those statistics. I never made it. I didn't look at it again. I never made it very far. When I look at my goals the next year, I'm like, well, I didn't do any of this. So I've had that too. And then I've had the third group where I set goals and I stayed focused on the goals during the year. And time passed, and I got what I was shooting for, or some of what I was shooting for. Now, which one do you think was better for me? It's not even hard, right? You all get it. The reason why I keep working at this and why I keep doing it, why I keep teaching about it, is because this third group, this third option is so amazing. 2019 will go down as one of my best goal-setting years ever. 2019, this is just a little bit, and not all of these were goals when I started the year. Some of these things just kind of happened as a part of the fact that I was living more of a disciplined life this last year in goals. So I paid my debt down in half. I added more thousands to my emergency fund. I paid off all of my college classes as I went along. I have no debt from school. I completed 9 credits towards my degree, including getting an A in college math. Yeah. I lost 14 pounds. I ate healthier than I've ever eaten in my entire life. As an old man, you have to start doing that. I started fully tithing again. I cooked a dozen new meals. I started seeing a counselor almost every single week. And on I could go. So it was a great year. It was just a great, yeah, thank you, Lois. Yeah, so, yeah, right. So, but that's what 2019 brought me because of this subject. It wasn't accidental. I didn't just wake up on January 1st and look back and go, look what happened to me. It didn't happen to me. I put my feet on paths that brought me those things. I put my feet on paths that brought me those things. That's what goals do. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's why I keep talking about it every year, is because I hope that some of you will try again. I hope some of you will join me because I want your year to be better. And the reality is, if some of you don't do this, then 2020 is not going to make a better year for you. It's going to be a worse year for you. Because the reality is, some of you right now are headed towards something financially you don't want to encounter. But you're on that path, and you are headed there, and you've got to change paths. And goals get you on the right path. Some of you, relationally, you are headed for things you don't want to have. And I don't want that for you. And if you would set goals and get on the right path, then 2020 will bring you more of what you do want, not more of what you don't want. This is so, so important for our future. That's why I keep talking about it. So we're finishing a series today called Unstuck, and what I want to ask you to do is open up your program, grab your notes. If you haven't already done that, grab a pen, and we are going to go through some really important content about how to set and reach your goals today. And while you're getting your notes out here, welcome to those of you who are watching on YouTube. Glad you've tuned in today. The notes are in the description section, and to those of you who are watching on our website, penulchurch.life. So for those of you who are watching on penulchurch.life, we figured out how to get the notes attached to the videos, so that is a coming feature. So you can watch for that developing in the next, sometime in the next month. That's a goal. So, all right, let's jump right into this. So, first thing, all goal setting starts with reality. You can't set any goals to make your life better in 2020 if you don't face the reality about where you are right now. So if you've heard me teach about goals, the main points don't usually change. It's all the content and what I've learned in the last year that really changes inside of here. So I always say the same. You always have to start with reality, because the reality is, some of you, as you sit here today, you are looking into 2020. You are thinking about decisions that are not going to give you a positive outcome. Some of you are thinking about making a decision that's going to bring you a lot of pain. And it's like, you need to rethink that. You need to think about the reality of that. Some of you, you've already made the decision. In 2019, you put your feet on a path, maybe it was even before 2019, and it's kind of fun. And you're having a good time soaring. But there's another part to this path, isn't there? It's called landing. And you are having a lot of fun soaring through the air. And believe me, being on the wrong path can be a lot of fun. Man, can it be fun. But you always land. The path takes you somewhere. Some of you made choices in this last year, or you're about to make choices that are going to put you in a very painful spot. When we're together again, Lord willing, next January, you're going to be describing your year as a lot of pain. I don't want that for any of you. It always begins with reality. You need to think about, what's the reality of my situation? So take a look at this verse. It says in the book of Proverbs, give careful thought to the paths for your feet. Are you? Are you doing that? Are you giving careful thought to the paths that you are currently on right now? So here's the reality question. This is on your notes. What's my reality about these areas? Financial area, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, family or relational, work or business, and personal. What's my current reality about these things? Okay? And you need to actually stop and think about it. You're not going to be able to do it right here, although maybe some of you are going to resonate with some of these things. So I tried to give you some ideas on this. So for some of you in your personal life, you know you need to learn how to set boundaries with an unhealthy person that you have to be around. You know that's what you need to work on in 2020 to make your life better. Some of you need to deal with an addiction. Some of you can't stop no matter how much you try, and you know that, and you won't face the reality of it. Some of you know that your anger is hurting people you love. Some of you know these are things. It's like, all right, this is my reality. No positive change happens until you own reality. Why do you think every recovery program starts with, hi, my name is Brian, and I am, right? It all starts with reality. Some of you with your marriage, you know our marriage isn't as loving as you want it to be. You have issues that you are not even talking about. You don't spend any real quality time together. You're starting to get way too close to someone who's not your spouse. You know that. Some of you with your career, you know you're working too many hours right now. You know you are not in the right career. Some of you hate your job. You hate your job. Do you know, I quoted a statistic last week that 50% of all Americans at every level of the workforce are not thinking about switching jobs, they're thinking about switching careers. 50% of all of us. Some of you, that's your current reality. You don't like it. It's not providing for you. It makes you feel miserable. It doesn't use your gifts and strengths. Some of you know your job is not safe in the next year, and you're just kind of putting blinders on. It's not safe because maybe there's a new management, maybe there's new direction, maybe you know you don't fit with it, maybe you know that your field that you're in, this is going to come to an end and you are just going on. No positive change happens till you face reality. For some of you, it's financial. Some of you know you're not saving enough for retirement. You know it. And time keeps passing. Some of you are not living on a budget, and you know you should be. I mean, you just kind of know that. I'm just like, well, I'm just having a little fun, right? It's fun to soar. It's really fun. Throw your budget away and buy what you want. That's fun. Are you kidding me? Woohoo! But you always land. That's not fun. Paths take you somewhere. Some of you know you have no real emergency fund. You're not doing what you should be financially. You're becoming more generous. And again, we talk a lot about these things because these are kind of basic financial principles. But some of you spiritually, you know that this is your reality. You don't love God more this year than you have in the past. You don't. God is just a word in your vocabulary. Many of you go days and days and days without thinking about God. You know that's not where it's supposed to be. Some of you make 99% of your decisions without even thinking about asking God to help you and guide you. Some of you would say, if I'm being honest, I seldom pray, so I miss out on all that God wants to do in my life. All goal setting starts with reality. Where are you really at? You have to face the reality about where you're at. In 2019, there was a lot of reality. There was a lot of reality that had faced. So many of the things I listed that came true for me in 2019 began with me facing reality. One of the reality things that I had to face was I have struggled all my life since I was a 20-year-old boy, finished my junior year in college, and decided, I'm done, I'm going to go work. I'm not even going to go back and finish my senior year. Because who needs a degree? I have suffered for that decision for so many years. And then finally this year, I faced the reality about it. The reality is, in a world like ours, with what I want to do for a living, I need a degree. That's just the reality. And so I knew, I tried some different things at the start of the year. I'm like, forget it. I am on a new plan now. I put my feet on a path, signed up for, enrolled in college, started taking online courses, and now time is passing and it's bringing me what I want. But none of that happened without reality. My lack of education is hurting me with the fields I want to work in. What's your reality? What's your reality? You have to think about reality and then go right into the next one. Where do I want to go? Okay, where do I want to go? So I know this is my reality. So where do I want to go? What are the paths that I want to be on? You know, I've been talking about this for so many years. And when I was doing some research on this in my archives, I came across, back in 2009, I wrote a bunch of my close friends and I said, did you set goals last year in 2008? And if you did, can you tell me what your year was like? And I got several responses back. Here was one of the responses from my friend who wrote and said, I wanted to gain 5 pounds for 2008, and guess what? I gained 7. I exceeded my goal. Always been an overachiever. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's the kind of friends I have. So here's the reality of what makes goals so powerful. Okay, there are 2 forces that are at work in your life all the time. They are always at work in your life, and we've talked about it in the last 2 weeks. If you missed either of those messages, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch them, because this is what we talked about. First, we are all on lots of paths. You're on paths. Every one of those things, you are on a financial path, and it is taking you somewhere. You are on a marriage path or a relational path, and it's taking you somewhere. You are on a personal health path, physical health path, right? And it is taking you somewhere. We're all on lots and lots of paths, and they're all headed somewhere. And we spent a whole week talking about this, and it was such a fun topic. And then last week we followed it up by saying, hey, by the way, you know what God offers? God offers to help us get on the right path. Did you know he promises that? And we talked last week about praying for the will of God so he would show you what path to get on. Have you ever been on the wrong path? God says, I'll put you on the right path. And so we talked about these two things, and here's why goals work so powerfully, because there are these two forces always at work in your life. If you get off the wrong path and onto the right path, then the only other thing you need once you're on the right path is you need time to pass. Because once you're on the right path, time passes and it brings you more of what you want. When you're on the wrong path, time is still passing, but it's bringing you everything you don't want. It's the real power of this whole series. Time is going to pass. So because I did those steps in 2019, because I got onto paths, time is now passing and time is making me debt-free. Because I'm on the right path and I'm on the path, and so now time is bringing that to me. Time is bringing me my college degree, finally. Finally, time is bringing that to me because I'm on the right path. If I stay on the right path, time works for me. If you're on the wrong path, time is working against you. That's all it takes, is you get on the right path, and I'm not making that sound simple. It's not always easy. You get on the right path, and then time becomes your ally, and it brings you the things that you really want. So take a look at what the Bible says about this. The prudent, and again, this is future, look at this. They see danger and take refuge. The simple keep going and pay the penalty. You know what he's saying? You are on paths today. And part of the expectation of God is that you will look down the path and say, where's this taking me? Is the path I'm on today taking me towards something good or taking me somewhere I don't want to go? And only you can answer that. Are the paths you're on taking you where you don't want to go? If they are, what does he say? Well, the prudent, they see that. They get on a new path. They do not stay where they are. They figure out, I don't want to go there. Here's where I want to go, and they make that change. And that's what we need you to do. So flip your notes over on the back. Let me just show you this. It's also going to appear on the screen. This is how to actually do it. So it's like, all right, this is my reality. I don't want to go there. I want to go here. Goals are how you go there. So on your back, on the back of your notes, it says, write out your goals and make them smarter. Do you know, many of you heard smart, this is better. This is better than smart. Smart goals, this is smarter, and I'll show you what this is. But the first thing is write your goals out, because very, very, very few of us have the ability to actually accomplish goals that we don't have written down. So we know from neuroscience that if you write your goals out, you are far more likely to accomplish them. So you got to actually put it down. I have mine typed right into my computer. I type them up and write them down. So then some of these things are really important, specific. When I see people make mistakes with goals, often these first two, it's not specific or it's not measurable. So it's like, I want to be happier in 2020. Well, what does that mean? How are you going to measure that? If I tickle you in December, will you be happier in 2020 if you accomplish your goal? What does this mean? It's like, I want to lose weight in 2020. Well, what does that mean? I mean, what does that mean? What are you shooting for? Make it specific. Make it measurable. I see people make that mistake all the time. They don't put a verb at the beginning. It's got to be actionable. I want to quit this. Some of you, the most important thing in 2020 isn't what you're going to add, it's what you're going to subtract. Do you know that? Some of you know that. Some of you, the most important change you're going to make in 2020 isn't what you're going to add, it's what you're going to let go of. I am going to forgive this person who hurt me. I am going to release all this bitterness that I've been carrying my whole life. It's not what you're going to add, it's what you're going to let go of. Some of you know that. Okay? Realistic, do not say that you're going to win an Olympic medal in anything, because I just don't believe you. So sometimes I see this, sometimes with big dreamers, some of you know that's your personality. You're sitting next to somebody, that's their personality, and they're like, woohoo, we're going to make $1 million starting this widget business. I had a guy once come to me with his plan, with his goal, and it was like, I'm going to start this thing, and everyone's going to come and hear me, and I'm going to teach. It's like, well, it's not realistic. You don't have a degree in that. You don't have any success in that. You have no experience in that. Why would anyone come? The result never happened. It has to be realistic. And I like shooting for the stars. Do you know me? I like shooting for the stars. But they also have to be realistic. Time bound. Put a date on it. Here's what I'm shooting for. Now, that's smart. Many of you heard smart, but the most important letter on here is the next one. As a matter of fact, if you have your pen, would you put a giant star by this one? Exciting. It has to be exciting to you. Why do you want this? If you accomplish this, what will happen? What's the payoff? Can you picture it? I want my degree, not because you think I want to take college math classes. Do any of you think I want this? No chance. Hate it, hate it, hate it. I was doing so much college math the other day. I can't stand it. I don't want this, but I really want this. I want to stand on the stage and they call Brian Rudesill and I walk across the stage and they put a diploma in my hand. I want that. I want my degree. That's what I want. And that's so exciting to me, I will do college math to get what I want. Does that make sense? If you're not excited about it, don't put it down. Now, the reality is some of you are like, well, I'm not excited about getting healthier this year. Woohoo, I don't have to put it down. Okay, well, you don't think about what you're going to have to change. You think about what the outcome of making that change would be. That's what you have to think about. I know I need to be physically healthier in 2020 because this is what I want. I want to be able to be healthy when I'm in my retirement age. I want to be able to live to see my grandkids. I want to be able to what do you want? I want to be able to be free of some of this pain in my body. I want this to change. That's what you think about. And if you're not excited about it, you're not going to accomplish it. And then relevant for the seasons of your life, this is especially true if you have young kids. Man, oh man, you're a single parent. Be realistic about what you can actually do in that season of your life. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to say to you about this is if you looked at my goals, which you can't, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, they changed so much. They changed so much. You have to be flexible with your goals. Because as I was going through the year and accomplishing some of these goals, I started accomplishing them like, I don't care about this. But I really care about this. And I made lots of changes as the year went on. Some of the things, like at the beginning of the year, I set a goal to cook 2 new meals per month because I was in a rut. I had the same meals pretty much every day, and I'm like, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to cook new meals. And I did that for about 4 months of the year, and then all of a sudden, college and these other things became far more exciting to me. And now I eat the same meals, and I'm happy. I don't care about that as much as I care about my college degree. So goals change. As the year goes on, your priorities change. So don't feel like I've locked it in. I have to do it. Why? Don't be afraid to make those changes as the year goes on. Third, and this is really key for us right now, especially in context of what we talked about last week, you have to involve God in the goal-setting process. You have to involve God in the goal-setting process. So like I said, I was reading through some of these old stories from my friends, and a young couple, they had no kids, they wrote me back, and they said, my husband and I set goals for 2008. We made it a point to keep it as real as possible and as specific as possible, so we set one serious goal and one fun goal. By the way, if you're married, what about setting a goal together with your spouse, like they did? What about setting a couple of them, like they did? One serious one and one fun one. I thought it was a fantastic idea. And listen to what came out of this, okay? Our serious goal was to be totally out of debt except for our home mortgage by the end of the year. We were so excited about it that we made an extra effort, and accomplished this early. We got done by October. So they were debt-free by October that year. Now, do you think they would have had that if they hadn't set the goal? Would they have just woke up in October and went, hey, we're debt-free? Wow, how did that happen? No, you all know that. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you get on the right path. Time passes, remember? Time passes, you're on the right path, and all of a sudden good things happen. Time passes when you're on the wrong path, bad things happen. They got on the right path with a goal, time happened. Time passed and good things happened. But then the other thing is that our fun goal was to cook something new every week. Not once a month. Every week they wanted to cook together something new. So we have far exceeded this one as well and totally enjoyed eating many interesting and weird things and sampling different cuisines. What a fun thing. Imagine how much fun they had as a couple doing that. Now some of you are like, that is not my idea of fun. Cooking with my spouse in the kitchen. I make them leave the kitchen, right? But for them, it worked great. Okay? But the point is, find something serious, something fun, try something different, and involve God. My goodness. So look at this. Here's the first prayer I want you to pray. Father, what goals do you want me to set in 2020? Now, here's why I want you to pray it. Have you ever heard the 23rd Psalm? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I mean, haven't we all heard this at some point, usually at a funeral? Recently, I was reading through those verses, and I noticed something I'd never noticed before. And again, when you're reading the Bible and God shows you something new that you've never noticed before, God's trying to say something to you. Look at what I saw in verse 3. God guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Now, again, I asked you a question earlier. Have you ever been on the wrong path? Some of you were on a wrong path romantically with the wrong person, and it really, really, really hurt you. Some of you were on the wrong path financially, and you paid stupid tax with a lot of zeros, which we've all done. You made mistakes financially, and it really hurt you. You were on the wrong path. Some of you were on the wrong path with your career or your job, and it really hurt you. And God says, hey, you know what I'll do? If you will at all turn to me, I will guide you to the right path. How many of you would like to know exactly what the right path is for every one of those areas of your life for 2020? God says, if you ask me, I will do this for you. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to do this one right now. Bow your heads. Close your eyes. And I want you, again, I know maybe spiritually, maybe you're not here at this point where this is, you really talk to God a lot, but I'm still asking you to do it anyway. I want you to pray this morning, and I want you to say to God, God, would you show me the right paths for my life in 2020? And you just pray that alone with God and be sincere. Amen. Now here's what's going to happen. God is going to show you the right paths. You know why? Because he made a promise to you. He said, I will guide you. So if you ask God for guidance, do you know what you will get from God? You'll get guidance. God will start to make certain areas of your life feel like, this isn't right anymore. I don't want to do this. He will start to show you better ways. He will do this during the year. You just need to pay attention and then change paths when he shows it. Although some of you sitting here right now, you already know, right? Some of you already know I'm on the wrong path. You already know some of the areas. You don't need him to show you. He's already showed you. But in my year, last year, there were so many times God's like, not this path, Brian, this path. And it's like, oh, okay. And you've got to be willing to make those adjustments. But God has promised he will guide you. So if you ask it, but because you asked it, God will guide you. And then you just need to do what he shows you, get on the right path. And then the other prayer to pray is, God, help me accomplish these goals. If you can look at your goals when you're done and you're like, I don't really need God in any of this. I could pull this all off myself. Guess what's wrong with your goals? There's something missing in there. Because if you don't have to depend on God for any of the goals that you put down, something's wrong. Because God's goal is for us to learn to trust him and rely on him so he can do the God things that bring honor to his name. So you might need to pray about your goals if they're all real easy and you can pull them off. So pray those prayers. There's a prayer that one of my goals on my sheet that's still going into this year, I'm still praying for. God, I know, is going to help me. Just a matter of waiting for it. Fourth thing, design a plan. Design a plan. If you've ever, chances are most all of you have heard of this man, Zig Ziglar. He was a prolific author, wrote so many books. He was a multimillionaire, motivational speaker. But halfway through his life, and I love stories like this, at the age of 45, he was broke and in debt. Halfway through his life, he was not a success. And when looking back at the end of his life, he looked back on that first half and he said this, I was enthusiastic, I was motivated, and I had the wrong plan. I had the wrong plan. This is what I want you to know. When I see people fail with goal setting, it's usually because they have goals that don't mean anything to them. I want to get healthy. I want to be happy. There's nothing specific. There's nothing measurable. Or they haven't even asked God for anything. Or the other big one is this one. They have no plans. Some of you are like, I want to be better off financially in 2020. Good goal, right? It's not specific, it's not measurable, it's not telling me anything, but the next question is, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do that? If you don't have action steps listed below, it's meaningless. You might as well just go say, I wish I had $1 million, and rub a lamp and see if a genie pops out and grants you your wish, because you have just as much likelihood of accomplishing that as saying a goal without a plan on how to get there. This is where people fail. It's like, what are you going to do different? Because if you don't change something, you know what you're going to get? What you always got. So you have to change something. What's going to change? What's going to be different? So flip your notes over in the back. At the bottom, I put a sample goal that you could use, and I tried to put it in the steps. So let's say your problem, the reality is too much debt. You want to pay off $6,000 in debt in the next 12 months, and you can think about, well, how exciting that'll be for you, and you include God, and you pray about it, and then you make a plan. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All of my goals have plans. All of my goals have plans. Otherwise, they're just a wish. And wishes sometimes come true, but mostly not. So here's the thing that I want you to know, though. When you're writing your plan, it's not like you're like, I need 47 steps to accomplish my goal. Okay? This doesn't have to be complicated. This is one of my favorite things to teach about. Have you ever heard of something on the front of your notes? It's called a keystone habit. You ever heard of that? And it's already filled in. I underlined it, but that's the phrase I want you to pay attention to. You ever heard of a keystone habit? If you like to read or listen to books on boy, they're not on tape anymore. They're listen to books online. Yeah, I caught right up on that one, didn't I? So go get this book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And it's all about our habits. Why do some habits work really well for you? Why do some habits fail? What's the thing that goes on? And one of the things they discovered in the research is what they call a keystone habit. And it can be one or two things that you change these one or two things, and all of a sudden it's like this. You ever do this when you were a kid? Ever set up a whole thing of dominoes and then push that first one and watch them all fall down? Right? That's a keystone habit. It's you push this one, and all of a sudden it triggers this positive change, and this positive change, and this positive change. All of a sudden, all these things are changing because you change the one thing. It's not like you have to, I need to come up with a plan that addresses every single one of these. No, what we've discovered in research is if you find one or two or three keystone habits and knock them over, it brings everything else you want. That's what you're looking for, keystone habits. He said in his research, you don't have to change dozens of habits to get to your goals. You only have to change a few, and that will have a ripple effect on your outcomes. So let me give you an example. Let's say physical health is one of your goals. I want to be healthier physically. So you may choose, this one is actually mine. I limit sugar most weeks to 1 day per week. And if you know me, you know how hard that is. But it's a keystone habit for me. Sunday is my cheat day. And I allow myself, matter of fact, I was so bad early in the year, because I had this habit for a little while, that I actually had to change it for a little while to Sunday afternoon and evening are my cheat times. Had to narrow the window because I was so bad in the whole day that first off, I felt sick on every Monday, and second, it took me the whole week to recover from what I did on Sunday. So it's like, this is stupid. I need to change this. So now it's like this narrow window. And then, the holidays, forget that. But that was a keystone habit for me. I literally used to eat chocolate every day of my life. I would sit down at night with a bag of chocolate, just chocolate chips. I could eat chocolate constantly. It was a keystone habit for me, okay? Some of you, I put that one up for you because some of you, you're not the sugar, you're the salty. You're the chips, it's like, oh yeah, give me a bag of Doritos and I'm in heaven, right? So you need to know what works for you. Some of you have used MyFitnessPal. I used to use that a lot, write everything down. In the research, we know this. We know that if you put MyFitnessPal on your phone or an app like that and you track every calorie you eat during your meals, you know what happens? You become aware. It's like, I'm out, and it's 1 o'clock. What in the world? Now I got two options. I can either starve myself the rest of the day or go on a walk and get a few back. And then tomorrow, I'm not eating that because I don't want to be out at 1 o'clock. And then all of a sudden, the one keystone habit makes you aware and you start changing your other habits. You see, that's the domino. For many people, that's the one. Change the one and the others follow. Start exercising. Exercise, we know, is a keystone habit. Personal health. Some of you start seeing a counselor twice a month. That was a keystone habit for me in 2019. About May, I started going to a counselor. I go usually 3 times a month. So almost every week I go. Because it's like, enough. Another thing that I got frustrated with in 2019 was, thanks to some encouragement from a good friend, I'm like, enough. This is too much pain for my past, and I'm not dealing with it. I can read all the books I want. It's not working. I need to get somebody else to help me. And that was a keystone habit. And that habit has led to lots of positive changes. Start journaling. Journaling is a known personal emotional health indicator. You will get healthier by journaling and writing out what's going on in your life. Join a recovery program. Tell somebody that secret that you've never told anyone. Marriage. How about starting a weekly date night? Keystone habit. Cook 2 new meals together per week like that couple did. Some of you are like, nope, not that one. Go on a walk together 4 nights a week. Start family dinners 5 times a week. Go to a marriage conference every year. Make that a habit in your marriage. From now on, every year, we're going to a marriage conference. It's going to be in January. It's going to be in Phoenix every year. We're going to be a week-long marriage conference, right? So then it's like a win-win all around. Couldn't you do that? Couldn't you do something that's just fun and creative and make it a habit? And the habit makes the change. Financially, automate your debt payments and increase them. That's what I did. One of my biggest things from last year. One of the reasons I'm so excited about this. You know why I'm so excited about 2020 is because I made that change in 2019. There was a point I'm like, stupid. I was so dumb about my debt. I had this pretty big debt from years back, and I was just floating it on no interest credit cards every 18 months, rotating it to a new one. And just paying like $50 a month, that's all you have to do. You never pay your interest, you never pay it down. And the problem is every time you rotate it, they make you pay a balance transfer fee. So it was like, it was getting bigger. And I was so dumb about it. I was playing with it like it's a pet and a nice little credit card. And I was like never going anywhere. And finally I got so frustrated. I'm like, I don't want this path anymore. I don't want this. I want it gone. And I got on a path and I automated my debt payments. So twice a month, it pulls out a certain amount of month, and then a certain amount of money. And then in June, I jacked it up even more. It's like, I want to kill this now. And by July of this year, because I'm on this path, July of this year, time's passing. July of this year, gone. Gone. Can I tell you how excited I'm about that? I'm on a path, and it's bringing me that. You get on the path, time passes. And time brings you the good stuff. So financially, some of you, that's a path you need to get on. Pick up a part-time job and apply all of that to your debt or savings. Take Financial Peace University online. Live on a budget. I mean, so many things we can do, right? They're steps. They're action steps, and they get you what you want. The Bible says this, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. So do you have a plan associated with your goal? Do you have a plan? How are you going to do it? Plans need to change, by the way. By the way, those of you who are like, I've made my plan, I've set my goal, it doesn't work that way. The plan that I started out with my education at the beginning of 2019, I thought I was going to do it one way and get my degree. Didn't work at all. And halfway through, I had to switch. I got good counsel from a friend who has a lot of experience with this. He helped me develop a new plan halfway through the year, and that's the plan I'm on now. So don't feel like I've locked it in. And plans change, just change them. All right, and the last one, and the one I learned the most about in 2019, the reason why I have so many good stories to tell you today is because of this one. Get support. Get support. If you don't have the ability to do it on your own, then you need to involve someone else who can help you get it done. So I was listening to Dr. Henry Cloud, one of my favorite Christian counselors, talk about this, and he said this. He said, when people struggle with something, let's say that you are an alcoholic and you really need, you know that, and you know you got to get your drinking under control. Let's say that you have some secret addiction and you know you got to get it under control. And what do they usually do? I got it, right? I can quit anytime. I can stop this anytime. That's what we do over and over again. And what happens? We fail and we fail and we fail and we fail and fail. He says people don't really break out of that cycle and get onto the new path until they get where they can get new structure and new energy from someone else. Not you create new energy, you get energy from someone else. And he gave 2 examples. He said, ever know anyone go on Weight Watchers? Said, how many of us set a goal in January? It's like, I'm going to be physical, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. And then by February 15th, we're all on the couch with our big bag of chips and our big bag of chocolate chips. And we're having a great time. A lot of fun soaring. But that always comes down, right? A path takes you somewhere. So he said what happens is that at some point people do things like this. He said they join Weight Watchers, and what happens? They get a new structure. Here's what you will eat. And here's when you will eat it, and here's how, I don't know how Weight Watchers work. I'm just making this up. So it's like, here's your plan, right? They give you a plan. I think they give you a plan, right? They give you a plan, and you follow this new plan. I got a better story about this one, because I got a personal example. When I was a boy, I had a relative that really struggled with their weight, and one day they joined Weight Watchers, this mysterious group that I have no idea what happens in it. But all of a sudden, she came home. She started losing lots of weight. I'm just in so much trouble on this one. All right. Bloopers. She lost so much weight because of whatever they told her, that new structure, and all the other people sitting in the room saying, we want to do this too. Let's go to the next. Ever heard of Alcoholics Anonymous? Okay, I know that one a lot better. Whew, I'm sweating. Alcoholics Anonymous. I've had plenty of friends go through this program and get sober. Over and over again, they tried, right? They're going to do it. I'm not drinking again. This time I'm done. I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm not going to drink anymore. And what happens? They drink and they drink and they drink until finally they face reality. I can't. I'm an alcoholic. I need help. And they get it from Alcoholics Anonymous. They get a new structure, 12 steps. See? I know that one. 12. And you're going to do these 12 things with us. And you get it with people, right? Are you alone as you go through this program? No chance. You go through with a mentor, and you go through with support, and you get energy, and you get structure, and you get sober. If you can't do it on your own, then you need to figure out where you can go to get a new structure and new energy from others in order to make it happen. That's what he was saying. That's really valuable. So what happened in 2019 for me is I got somebody to do goals with me. So we, at the start of the year, said, hey, let's do goals together. And let's share our goals. And so we each wrote our own goals. You know, we didn't do it together. We did all this separate. And we didn't have any idea I had no idea how it was going to work. And so we started out with this plan. But what emerged over the year was usually once a month, we would sit down and we would review our goals. And for me, it was Saturday mornings. I love to go to a coffee shop where I live, in the town where I live, and I sit there and I have my laptop open and I read through my goals and I type in an update. So let's say it's January 12th today. So I put 1/12 and I would type an update under each one of my goals. 1/12. I'd go through and date them all and type where I'm at. And then I'd send that in an email to him. And then he would do the same thing and send an email back to me. We would review where we're at. And so many times during the year, he would send me his goals. I'm like, oh, I gotta do my goals. I haven't sent anything off. And the simple act of reviewing it and giving your own update, because we put a date in there, we put a calendar, here's where I'm at this one. So many times when I do it, that's when God was like, why are you doing this? This doesn't matter to you. You don't care about it. Why are you after this? So several of the goals I wrote, I just started writing, I didn't write something like, I don't care anymore. This is no longer relevant. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care about cooking new meals. I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I can eat the same thing every day for the rest of my life and be completely happy. That doesn't bother. I love leftovers. I'm one of those guys. Bring me your leftovers. I will feast upon them. It doesn't bother me at all. So, but I really cared about debt. I cared about building an emergency fund, and I cared about getting my college degree, and I cared about getting emotionally healthy. I cared about all these things. And so just the simple act of sharing our goals almost every month brought so much of what I wanted in my life. And I underestimated this for years, but I now have a different perspective when it comes to this verse. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. There is more power when two are together than when there's one, which is what the Bible clearly teaches us. So some of you, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need to write your goals up and send them to somebody and say, would you do this with me? And then just send them an email. They need to be available. They need to be serious about this. They need to be encouraging, because you will not accomplish everything. All that I accomplish, it is not what I had on my sheets. I didn't accomplish everything I put down. And so you need someone who's going to encourage you and just check up on you and make sure that you're making the right steps. So I know I've given you so much. So I want to make this simple as we're done. Write your goals out. Figure out where you're at, where you want to go, and write a goal. Follow the instructions on the back of this thing. Do not try and write a lot of goals. If this is your first time ever doing it, don't set more than 3 or 4. But you know what? I'd be happy if you did 2. I'd be thrilled if you just gave 2 a try. Like that couple. We're doing 2, a serious one and a fun one. Wonderful. Do you know how much better your life will be if you pick the right 2? And by the way, that's where you involve God. Make sure that they're exciting to you. They mean something to you. Does one of them really stretch you a little bit? Do you have to ask God for help with one of them? You should. Otherwise, it's probably not the right goal. Then make a plan for how you're going to achieve it. And ask someone to do this with you so that you have that constant monthly reminder, oh yeah, I got to review my goals and give an update. Oh yeah, I got to review my goals and give an update. I got to review my goals and give an update. Because that'll make you make the changes you need. So here's where I'm at and why I'm so excited about this. I have had a pretty rough last 2 months. Last couple of months, there have been 2 funerals that I've done. I've had an enormous amount of extra work in my life. Been so busy. You know, I had finals for a college math class and then started another math class immediately after it. It's been really, really hard. And I have not given my partner an update at all on my goals in the last 2 months. And I haven't written my new goals for this year yet. And you know what's happening in my life? All kinds of good things. I'm still paying off my debt because I'm on that path. And I'm still building my emergency fund because I'm on that path. And I'm still getting closer to my degree because I'm already on that path. Time continues to pass. And it's just bringing me all kinds of good things. And I want that for you. I want time to pass and bring you the things that you want. The things that God has for you in 2020. That's what I want. Is this year going to be a better year for you? It's only going to be if you acknowledge the power of these things, get on the right path, and let time work for you. Now, one of the reasons this works so well, and this is my final thing to you, is God is a planner. I love this element of God, and we don't talk about it enough, but over and over and over again in the Bible, it talks about the plans of God. Did you know that? Our God makes plans. Our God had a plan to send his only son into the world to make an incredible debt payment. Because the Bible says that financially, we don't owe financial debt to God. We owe a moral debt to God. Because we have done things in our life that have hurt other human beings. We've done things in our life that hurt ourselves. And we are created in the very image of God. And morally, we have accumulated a vast, unpayable debt to God. So God sent his son into the world to pay that debt for us. Let me have you bow your heads as we finish. What Jesus came to do for all of us was absolutely amazing. Jesus came, gave his life willingly on that cross, and the Bible says that he took into his body all our debt. All of it. He paid in full for all of it. And then he rose again from the dead, proving that he is God the Son. And he is ready and willing right now and available to every human being on earth. If you want his gift of forgiveness and eternal life, you can have it right now. He will pay your debt if you'll let him. If you want this gift with your head bowed, say something like this in your heart to him. Say, Jesus, I'm turning to you today. Pay my debt. Please pay my debt. I've heard that you already paid on that cross, and I'm asking for that gift of forgiveness today. Please come and make your home inside of me. In Jesus' name, amen.